Yum. Oh, yay. That's so good. Hi and welcome back to Lorene's Bits and Pieces. I'm Lorene and I'm here today to do just a little bit more cooking. This time we're diving into muffins. And there's a big difference. I know you're thinking, what's the difference between muffins and cupcakes? Well, muffins tend to be just a little bit more dense and not so sweet. And often muffins are quite big as well. Although you can make them small, there's no big deal about that. So we are once again into this folder here where we have a bunch of recipes and stuff at the start that I've copied from various sources over the years. And these two recipes that we're going to cover today are actually from a book called Quick and Easy Favourite Muffins that was by Robyn Martin, and it was done in association with Chelsea Sugar. So the recipes that we're going to be playing with today, the first one is going to be a bit divisive, I'm afraid. The first one is a carrot and coriander muffin, and the second one we're going to be playing with is a New York muffin. So if you remember a few weeks ago we did the New Yorker coffee. This particular cupcake, the New Yorker muffin, would actually go really well with the New Yorker coffee. It's just got a beautiful combination there of flavors. So without further ado, let's have a look at those recipes. Alright, so as you can see with the carrot and coriander muffin, it uses wholemeal flour and regular flour. Unfortunately, I don't have any wholemeal flour, so I'll just be using regular. There's some baking powder, salt, cream cheese, 2 eggs, 2 cups of grated carrot, 1/4 cup of chopped fresh coriander, 1.5 cups of milk, and 2 teaspoons of prepared minced chili. Oh, words are hard today apparently. So there's the carrot and coriander muffins, and I'll go over the New Yorker once we get into that particular recipe. So I'm really looking forward to this. I love coriander, and I used to hate coriander until I started working for a Thai restaurant as a waitress. And at the end of the night, we used to sit down together and the cooks would do a few dishes from either off the menu dishes, like home dishes from their villages, or it might be just excess from the evening. And we would sit down as a team and we would share a meal together at the end of the night. It was one of the best parts about working there. And one of the things I grew to realize very quickly is coriander is not meant to dominate a dish. It is supposed to be just a nice little accompaniment. It enhances the flavors. So I'm going to ask you to maybe, if you are on the fence about coriander, give this recipe a go, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be really yum. First of all, we have to mix the flours, and as I don't have any wholemeal flour because I couldn't get any at the supermarket today, I will be putting in 2 cups of regular flour, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt. Let's stir that up to combine those things together. Cream cheese, we need 125 grams of cream cheese, and we're going to be rubbing that into the flour. Good. Now we make a well in the center of that. Pop that to the side for the moment. 2 eggs, lightly beaten. 2 cups of grated carrot, 1/4 cup of fresh chopped coriander or cilantro, depending on where you are in the world, eggs, one and a half cups of milk, 1 teaspoon of dried chili or 2 teaspoons of fresh. Now my friends, this is the most important step. Please don't over mix your muffins. You've got to mix it till it's just combined. And you do that by mixing the dry ingredients. It's called folding. So you have to fold that wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. Very gentle, very slow process, and it doesn't take long to mix up. And as long as we haven't got any big lumps of flour anymore, nope, we're done. That's it. And even if you see some very small bits of flour there that don't look mixed up yet, don't worry, it's okay. As long as it all sort of looks roughly uniform in the way it's been mixed, you're absolutely a-okay. For this one I'm going to use my large muffin tin, my large muffin tray. It's actually a silicone tray, so I don't actually really have to flour or butter it, but I will today just to show you what that looks like. So we get a bit of butter. It does help if the butter has been softened a little. And we just rub that and hopefully the warmth of your hands. It's pretty cold here in Adelaide, so my hands are a bit chilly at the minute. You just rub that into your pan, and it doesn't matter what kind of pan you got, whether you got a silicone one like this or whether you've got a non-stick or an old traditional one that's been handed down through the generations. If you pop a little bit of butter, and it doesn't need to be much, at least in the bottoms of your pan, then your muffins shouldn't stick. Nothing worse than trying to do your baking and your muffins stick. I have to tell you from experience. So yes, even on a non-stick pan, I will still do the butter trick, just to be sure, because I have been caught out before. And now we've got to 3/4 fill these pans with our mixture. These will now go into the oven for 15 to 20 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius, or to when they spring back when lightly touched. Alrighty, here's our carrot and coriander muffin. Doesn't that look delicious? Oh my goodness, so yummy. Looking forward to getting into this one. Oh, from the outset, it smells a little bit, definitely savoury for obvious reasons, but it's kind of got a little bit of an eggy smell to it. Let's break it open. Oh, look at that, lovely. I don't know if you can see it, but it's steaming. And here we go, there's the inside. Yum. Alright, let's give it a taste test. Oh yeah. Okay. carrot can be quite a sweet vegetable. So having the carrot in there, excuse me, adds this amazing amount of sweetness to it. And with that chili, there's a little chili afterbite coming through now. Oh, that is yum, yum, yum. I'm looking forward to some more of that. I can just imagine though, if you wanted to tweak this a little bit, make it a little bit different, you could probably put a little bit of curry powder in with that, and that would be really tasty. You could have some bacon. You could fry up some bacon into little bits and put that in there. Of course, put it in with your wet ingredients or your dry ingredients, but don't put it in after everything's all mixed together, because then you'll over mix your mix, as you know. But wow, that is yum. I'm looking forward to having that for my lunch tomorrow. And maybe today. All right, let's have a look at those New York muffins now. So we've got 250 grams of cream cheese, 3 eggs, half a cup of lemon juice, 1/4 cup of Chelsea sugar, 2 cups of flour, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 cup of milk. And now we will begin with the New York muffins. So we're after half a cup of lemon juice, and lemons are obviously required for this. So here's a handy hint. To get, this lemon's not too bad, it's not too hard, but if your lemon is a little bit firm, one of the ways that you can get it to release its juices a little bit more, there's 2 ways. One way is to roll it, like that, till you can feel that it is nicely softened all the way around. Then you'll get a heap more lemon juice out of your lemon than if you just tried to squeeze it without running it around. The other thing you can do, which is not something I need to do with my lemons today, but you can actually pop it into the microwave just like that for about 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, and you'll feel it's nice and warmed up inside. And that's another way that you can actually help to release the juices. So let's just slice into this one now. Woohoo! And I like to use a lemon juicer gadget because it catches the pips. And if I've got any cuts on my hands, then it doesn't hurt them. So there you go, there's hardly anything left in that. Now these lemons aren't very big lemons either, so I've actually got a couple of them to do. So let's just zip through this. Here's another handy hint. Did you know that you can actually put lemons in the freezer? And so at this time of year in the winter time, there's loads and loads and loads of lemons floating around, and we often have way too much lemons for what we need. So yes, you can actually put them in the freezer, just whole, just like that, and you can use them later on. The skins are no good for things like zesting or anything like that after you get them out of the freezer, but you can still use them for stuff like this. You can still juice them and everything after they've been defrosted, and they're great. And you can use them in other ways that you might want just a lemon slice or something like that. So first of all, it's asking for this to be done in a food processor, but I can't be bothered with a food processor today, to be honest. So let's take our 250 grams of cream cheese. We'll chop that up into little bits because you see it's really, really soft. We need to have 3 eggs. Our lemon juice, let's just double check we've got half a cup of lemon juice. do indeed. Look at that. Perfect. 1/4 cup of sugar. Okay, let's see how we go about mixing it up with the whisker. Alright, I'm struggling with the whisker to get those last few bumbles out. Let's see what the stick blender does. Beautiful. Let's add 1/4 cup of milk to this. Stir that through. Look at that, beautifully combined now. Got it in the wrong bowl. And now, as we know, with muffins from the recipe just before, we don't want to over mix it. So because I don't want this to be a thick stodgy muffin, I'm actually going to switch this fluid into a smaller bowl, put the flour into here and mix it like we did just before. Rightio, into this we've got 2 cups of flour. I might get it too much. 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Let's stir that up to combine those things together. Messy cook on the loose, watch out. And now let's mix, put a well in the center and mix our fluid in with our flour. And now we gently mix that together. Making sure to scrape right underneath, because that's where your flour is going to sit. It's part of why you create a well in the center. Okay. And that's done for now, and now we'll pop that into the muffin trays. So we've just greased up those pans again. And now we're 3/4 filling these ones with our next mixture. Feels quite a lot more bubbly than the first one, which is quite interesting. It's a light and fluffy texture. Makes it feel a little bit more cupcake in texture than muffin, but that's all good. And now these two will go into the oven at 200 degrees for 15 minutes, or until they spring back when lightly touched. Oh, here we go. We have the New Yorker muffin. Now, as you can see, I've actually put some icing on the top of this, and it is a lemon and cream cheese frosting. I'll put the recipe to that underneath. I didn't show you how I did it because I didn't actually have any icing sugar, so I had to use some caster sugar. But I'll put the recipe to that underneath for you. But let's have a look and see how this tastes. Oh my god. Oh, that is so beautifully lemony. That's what it looks like on the inside. Oh, I tell you what, let's just have a bit of without the icing. The lemon is quite subtle. I think if I was to tweak this recipe just a touch, what I would do is actually put a little bit of lemon zest in with the mixture, and that would make it just that little bit more lemony. Because I like a really lemony muffin. I like things, if they're going to be lemony, if they're going to say that they're lemon, then they need to be lemony. But with that icing, the cream cheese icing being on the top, that sort of compensates for there not being quite so much lemon in the mix. That is absolutely delicious. I will happily be sitting down with that and my coffee and enjoying that for afternoon tea today. Oh, yum, yum. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing and playing with my videos, if that's what you're choosing to do, or if you're just choosing to watch and enjoy the beautiful creations, thank you for that too. I am eternally grateful for your time, your contribution, and for you just being bold, being brave, and being you, my friends. Until our next video, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Because I have been caught out before.
Ring, 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 ding-a-ling, ring.